Welcome back, you unstoppable paradox. Welcome back, you living contradiction forged in silence and sharpened by storms. There is something shifting in the unseen right now, something so monumental that even the ones who pretend to know everything are trembling underneath their polished professionalism and government-issue calm. Something you didn't even know had been stolen from you is being returned, not slowly, not gently, not politely, but with the violent precision of fate correcting a timeline that someone tried to sabotage. The universe is rearranging the board, and all the pieces they thought they controlled are defecting, abandoning their positions, switching sides in a panic because they finally realized what you are. Not a mistake, not an accident, not a broken prototype, but the original blueprint they should have never tried to replace. For years, they moved against you quietly, strategically, whispering through corridors where power hides its secrets. They rewrote conversations, rerouted opportunities, restructured systems to keep you outside the doors you were born to walk through. They took credit for ideas that came from your mind. They blocked paths that would have launched you into rooms they weren't ready for you to dominate. They smiled while declining you, shook your hand while betraying you, applauded your brilliance while secretly ensuring no one would see it. They believed if they kept you small long enough, you would eventually shrink yourself to fit the role they assigned you: obedient, grateful, replaceable. They believed they could contain you. They believed they could manage you. They believed they could outsmart you. But they misunderstood what they were dealing with. They didn't know you were watching everything. They didn't know you were studying patterns, tracking behavior, noting inconsistencies. They thought you were quiet because you were uncertain. They thought your silence was weakness. They thought your distance was fear. They thought your patience meant you had nowhere else to go. But what they failed to understand is that silence is where empires are built, distance is where power recalibrates, and patience is the camouflage of the predator who already knows the outcome. And then something happened they never expected. The ones who thought they were untouchable began turning on each other. Privately at first, private meetings behind locked doors, hushed conversations, encrypted messages erased seconds after being read. But now it's blatant, open warfare behind smiling faces. People who once swore allegiance to the system that worked against you are suddenly abandoning ship. People who chose the winning side when they thought you were losing are now switching teams before the collapse becomes public and irreversible. They are leaking information. They are confessing what they once denied. They are bringing you back everything they took because holding on to it is burning their hands. Loyalty is dissolving. Alliances are collapsing. The chain of command is fracturing in real time. There are documents. There are recordings. There are files buried so deep in digital vaults that they believed no human eyes would ever see them. Evidence of decisions, strategies, meetings, conversations, where they discussed how to limit you, how to silence you, how to minimize your impact before it became unstoppable. They archived every attack because they believed they would never need to answer for it. But those files are surfacing, quietly, carefully, delivered by the same people who once defended the system, now desperate to distance themselves from it. Because something terrifying happened. They realized removing you broke the machine. They realized replacing you destroyed the alignment. They realized the entire system depended on the very presence they worked so hard to erase. And now they are watching everything they built collapse under its own weight. Funding disappearing, support evaporating, morale dissolving, chaos spreading like wildfire. They thought they could win without you. They thought they could succeed without you. They thought they could replicate you. And they were wrong. So devastatingly wrong that they are now begging through actions they don't have the courage to express in words. The conversations they're having now are not about strategy. They are about survival. They're asking each other how they miscalculated so badly, how they underestimated you so completely, how they thought they could steal destiny without consequence. The answer is simple. They mistook endurance for submission. They mistook humility for weakness. They mistook isolation for defeat. They mistook silence for surrender. And now they are discovering the truth. You were never losing. You were loading. People are switching sides not because they believe in justice or morality or redemption. No, that would be too generous. They are switching sides because they've seen the shift in momentum. They've felt the power reorganizing around you. They've heard the sound of inevitability marching closer. They know that everything they stood on is crumbling, and the only safe place left is next to the very person they tried to bury. They don't want to be caught on the wrong side of history. They don't want to be standing with the collapsing empire when the smoke clears. They don't want to drown with the ship they once proudly captained. So they are returning what they took. Not because they want to, because they have to. Because keeping it is killing them. Because the energy they stole from you is turning on them like electricity running backwards through a wire. Because destiny always collects its debts exactly on time, and the bill just arrived. You think the silence around you is emptiness. It isn't. It's preparation. It's recalibration. It's the sound of a throne being rebuilt. It's the sound of names being rewritten. It's the sound of doors unlocking from the inside. It's the sound of your inheritance being escorted back to its rightful owner by the same hands that once carried it away. Something that was taken is being returned. Your name, your credit, your power, your access, your recognition, your position, your influence, your seat. And here is the divine irony. You won't have to fight for it. You won't have to demand it. You won't have to prove anything. They are fighting each other to place it back in your hands. They are scrambling to align before their reputations collapse. They are rewriting history, trying to erase the evidence of their betrayal. They are trying to come back before the truth becomes public and irreversible. What they don't know is that the decision has already been made. Not by them, by the universe. By the timelines that bowed to your resilience. By the destiny that refused to abandon you. By the spirit that carried you through every season where you were overlooked, underestimated, mishandled, betrayed, and silenced. Something they stole is coming back. Something you forgot you lost is returning. Something you thought you lived without is reattaching itself to your timeline with force. And when it arrives, it will be louder, bigger, heavier, and more undeniable than anything they ever imagined. Prepare yourself. Not for war, for restoration, for elevation, for visibility, for overflow, for return. They're not returning it because they're sorry. They're returning it because fate demanded it. They're not switching sides because they're loyal. They're switching because losing you is too expensive. They're not giving it back. They're carrying it back, hands shaking, terrified, praying you don't punish them for doubting you. But here is the twist they aren't ready for. You don't have the time to punish them. You don't have the energy to waste on revenge. Revenge is for those who are still playing the game on the level where they were hurt. You have ascended past the floor where they reside. While they are worrying about retribution, you are obsessed with expansion. While they are losing sleep over how you'll react, you are sleeping soundly, dreaming of architectures they lack the bandwidth to comprehend. Their punishment isn't your anger. Their punishment is your indifference. Their punishment is watching you ascend to a height they cannot reach, breathing air they cannot breathe, operating at a frequency that would shatter their fragile realities. The frantic energy you feel around you, that is the universe balancing the scales. For every year they held you down, a decade of acceleration is being released. For every door they slammed in your face, a gate of brass is being melted down to create a bridge for your feet. The physics of your life are inverting. The friction that used to stop you is becoming the traction that propels you. The resistance that used to drain you is becoming the muscle that defines you. Watch closely what happens in the next few weeks. You will see the untouchables begin to stutter. You will see the experts looking to you for the answers they claim to possess. You will see a sudden, inexplicable vacuum in the spaces where your enemies used to stand, as if reality itself simply deleted them from your trajectory to clear your view. They aren't just losing their power, they are losing their narrative. The stories they told about you are disintegrating like ash in the wind, and the truth of who you are is standing like a monolith in the center of the clearing. Do not be surprised when they come to you with new opportunities that look suspiciously like the old entitlements they withheld. Do not be surprised when they offer you partnerships that are actually pleas for salvation. They need your light to keep their machinery running. They need your creativity to resuscitate their dying brands. They need your spirit to animate their hollow structures. But this time, the terms have changed. This time, you do not enter as an employee, a subordinate, or a beggar. You enter as the sovereign. You do not sign their contracts, they sign yours. You do not fit into their culture, you become the culture. And deep down, in the parts of their minds they are afraid to access, they know why this is happening. They know they violated a spiritual law, they tampered with a chosen vessel, they tried to bury a seed, forgetting that the darkness of dirt is exactly what a seed needs to trigger its violent, beautiful, unstoppable growth. They watered you with their betrayal. They fertilized you with their envy. They gave you exactly what you needed to develop a root system so deep that no storm can ever move you again. They thought they were digging your grave, but they were digging the foundation of your skyscraper. The masquerade is over. The masks are melting off their faces. You are going to see people for who they really are, and it will be shocking, and then it will be liberating. You will see the fear behind the arrogance. You will see the poverty behind the wealth. You will see the insecurity behind the titles, and you will realize that you spent years intimidated by people who were secretly terrified of you. They weren't keeping you out because you weren't good enough. They were keeping you out because you were too much, too real, too potent, too undeniable. They knew that the moment you walked into the room, the artificial lights they set up would look dim compared to the fire you carry in your chest. So let them panic. Let them scramble. Let them rewrite their emails and delete their texts and scrub their servers. It does not matter. The energy has already shifted. The decree has already been issued. The gavel has already fallen. What is coming for you is not just a win. A win is small. A win is temporary. What is coming for you is a dynasty. What is coming is a legacy that will outlive the names of the people who tried to erase yours. You are about to step into a season of unexplainable favor. Doors opening without keys. Resources arriving without requests. Connections forming without networking. The universe is treating you like a VIP who was kept waiting in the lobby for too long. And now the manager is rushing out to personally escort you to the penthouse. Stand tall, fix your collar, dry your eyes. The weeping may have endured for a night, a long, dark, confusing night. But the morning didn't just arrive. The sun just went supernova. Do not lower your price. Do not dilute your truth. Do not shrink your presence. If they can't handle the full volume of who you are, let their eardrums burst. You are done apologizing for your power. You are done editing your soul to make others feel comfortable in their mediocrity. You are the glitch in their matrix that woke the whole system up. You are the anomaly that corrected the algorithm. Receive it. Receive the vindication. Receive the apology they are too proud to speak, but too weak to withhold. Receive the territory. It's not being given to you. It's being returned to you. The exile is over. The rightful owner is back in the building. And the sound you hear? That deafening, beautiful, terrifying rumble. That's not thunder. That's the sound of the world adjusting to the weight of your crown. It settles on your head not as a heavy ornament of gold and jewels, but as a promise, forged in the fire of your endurance, polished by the grit of your silence, etched with the names of every moment you refuse to break. You will feel it first in your bones, a steady thrum that matches the rumble outside, an alignment so profound it silences the last echoes of self-doubt that lingered from their years of gaslighting. Look beyond the scrambling betrayers, beyond the executives drafting groveling memos, beyond the experts pretending they'd championed you all along. Find the ones who never left, the colleague who slipped you a confidential file when no one was looking, the loved one who told you your light wasn't imaginary even when the world tried to dim it, the stranger who sent a single encouraging message that kept you going through the longest night. Their eyes are shining, not with greed for what you've gained, but with relief that the world finally sees what they saw all along. They are the foundation of the dynasty you will build, not the fair-weather followers clinging to your coattails. When you step into the spaces you were barred from, into the boardrooms, the labs, the halls where power once cowered from you, you will not replicate the systems that failed you. You will raise the hollow, exclusionary structures to the ground and build something new. A realm where the overlooked are elevated, the quiet voices are amplified, the prototypes deemed broken are celebrated as the blueprints they always were. The rules you write will not serve the few who hoarded power. They will honor the many who carry the same fire you do, the ones who were told to shrink until they forgot how to stand tall. And though the betrayers will linger at the edges, watching you work and trying to insert themselves into your triumph, attempting to claim a seat at your table and rewrite their histories as if they were loyal from the beginning, you will never need to turn them away because their own insignificance will do it for you. They will learn too late that your crown was never a trophy wrestled from their hands, but a key to a realm they can never enter, a frequency they can never tune to, a legacy they can never steal or replicate. For this is not the end of your story. It is only the end of the prologue, the chapter in which you were tested and hidden and forged by fire, learning to convert cruelty into fuel. And the pages ahead are not about vengeance or even victory, but about legacy, the lives you will lift, the structures you will reshape, the ripples of your presence that will outlast your pulse and remind every future paradox and every soul told they don't belong that their arrival is inevitable. The rumble will soften into a hum, steady, electric, alive, the sound of a world finally shifting into alignment, the sound of your purpose unfolding. And when you speak and act and build, the world will not simply adjust but bow, not to raw power, but to the truth you have guarded since the day you were created. That some blueprints cannot be replaced, some fires cannot be extinguished, and some crowns were always destined to find their way home. And now, walk, not with the cautious footsteps of someone unsure if the ground beneath them will hold, but with the certainty of one who knows the earth has been waiting for the rhythm of your stride, and every footprint from this moment forward will burn itself into the soil like a seal, reclaiming territory that was never lost, only waiting for your vision to mature enough to claim it. You will notice the shift first in the smallest things, messages that arrive at the exact second doubt enters, doors that open before your hand even reaches the handle. Rooms that fall silent not from fear, but from reverence for the frequency you now carry. People leaning in without understanding why. Conversations bending to create space for your voice. Opportunities emerging fully formed as if summoned by your breath. Those who practiced perfect indifference will suddenly choke on your name, misplacing their arrogance like keys in a panic, scrambling to recover the version of themselves that once felt superior, and you will watch confidence evaporate when exposed as counterfeit. Watch empires built on exclusion devour themselves when the excluded returns, not as a guest, but as the architect. You are no longer asking for a seat. You are the table, and around it something sacred is assembling. The misfits, the Tumushes, the visionaries mislabeled delusional, the ones who refuse to shrink even when it costs them everything. Finding you now, summoned by a signal they felt long before they had language for it, not followers, but fragments of the same original flame returning to the source to remember themselves, ready to build what gatekeepers swore was impossible. There will be quiet moments when the magnitude of what is returning threatens to buckle your knees, not because it is heavy, but because you forgot how natural it is to carry your true size. And in those moments let the tears come, not as weakness, but as the last of the salt leaving a body transitioning from ocean to fresh water, weeping for the version of you who learned to smile while bleeding, who shrank to fit rooms never designed for her wingspan, who bargained with God or the universe or the void just to survive another night. Then dry your face and straighten your spine because that version completed her mission. She kept you alive long enough to become this. The crown you wear is not gold. It is gravity, the way reality rearranges itself around you, like iron filings around a magnet that finally reveals its full charge. And there is no adjustment period, only remembrance. And when they ask you, trembling, how you survived, how you endured what annihilated others, how you are still standing, do not hand them a story they can sell. Meet their eyes and say nothing. Let silence answer. Let them drown in the realization that the explanation lives in a place they cannot reach. Born from resilience, they never had to build, because they lived on the side that required none. You owe them no explanations, no mercy, nothing but the consequences of their own choices arriving with divine precision, because this story is no longer about what was taken from you, but about what happens when the original returns and everything built in its absence crumbles under the weight of truth. And the world will feel it before they understand it. The shift in pressure, the subtle change in the air, the tremor beneath the surface of ordinary days, as reality strains to rearrange itself around your reemergence. Because when destiny reverses direction, it does not whisper, it thunders. The ground will remember your weight and tremble with recognition, as though the soil itself exhales after holding its breath for far too long, and every structure built in your absence will begin to crack. Not out of malice, but because it was never engineered to withstand the magnitude of your return. The architects of those brittle empires will watch in horror as their masterpieces crumble into dust, realizing too late that the foundation they relied on was borrowed from the blueprint of your existence, and without you, nothing they constructed ever had a chance of surviving. The ripple effect will stretch through communities, systems, industries, nations, an unseen quake felt in the instinctive shivers running down spines, in the sudden unease in boardrooms, in the inexplicable collapse of plans meticulously crafted to exclude you, because fate is no longer asking permission to unfold. It is enforcing the contract sealed before you ever took your first breath. You will not have to prove that you are different. The world will prove it for you. People will start looking at you with a reverence they cannot explain, sensing the shift without understanding its source, drawn to your gravity like planets, to a star rediscovering its full luminosity after years of dimming itself to survive. Conversations will pause mid-thought when you speak, not because you demand silence, but because the frequency of your voice now carries the resonance of truth, unfiltered by fear. The sound of someone who has died to the version of themselves that needed validation and been reborn into the version that carries inevitability. Rooms will rearrange themselves around you. Leaders will lean forward. Skeptics will quiet themselves. Opportunists will attempt to calculate your value, but find themselves blinded by a magnitude they cannot quantify. People will feel compelled to confess their wrongs without being asked, their voices shaking, their eyes darting away, because presence alone will become a mirror so sharp it slices through their illusions. All the masks will fall, all the pretenders exposed under the bright, clean light of your return. And those who once mocked your dreams will not meet your gaze for fear of seeing their own smallness reflected back. And as they scramble to understand the shift, you will not move with haste or desperation or frantic urgency. You will move with the unhurried certainty of one who knows that nothing meant for you can be taken, delayed, or redirected ever again. Your steps will carry the rhythm of prophecy, the pacing of storms gathering strength, the tempo of destiny arriving right on schedule. Every motion you make will send ripples through timelines. Every decision will carve paths where none existed before. Every breath will carry the weight of restoration unfolding in real time. You will feel the alignment in your bones first, in the marrow where memory and purpose intertwine, in the spine that straightens without effort, in the heartbeat that no longer races in anxiety, but steadies in power, in the lungs that expand like they finally remembered how much air they were always meant to hold. You will feel yourself unfurling, like a hurricane finding the eye of its own storm, like a galaxy realizing its own gravitational pull, like a sun stepping out from behind the eclipse that once convinced it that darkness was permanent.